Video capture device and source visible. Okay. All right. Uh, yes. So wait, guys. Let me just set my OBS. All right. Uh, all right, Omkar. We are live now.
Shall we wait for this?
Yes. 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 Let us wait for the people to join.
Let's wait for 5 minutes. My screen isn't sharing.
No. No. All right. I think we should start now.
We should start.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the stream. I'm Omkar and from Open Source Initiative Club of KKWRWR. And today in this session, we are going to create an application that is COVID tracker using Python. So the prerequisites of this to create this application is basic Python and some knowledge about APIs. So I hope you know some basics of Python. So if you don't know anything about APIs, don't worry, I'll be explaining it. So let's start with. Just tell me if my screen is visible.
Yes. Yes. It is visible now.
Okay, so let's get started with what APIs basically are. APIs basically stands for Application Programming Interface. So what API basically does is it gives you an access to something in general terms. So it basically in technical terms it acts as a bridge between you, that is your client PC, and the server. It helps us to gives you connectivity. Okay. So let's simulate this concept with some practical example. So for example, when you go to a restaurant, what you do is ask the waiter and tell him whatever you want. So what he does, he knows all those things and goes to the kitchen and ask the chef if those stuff are ready or not. If they are ready, then he will serve you. Else he will tell you, sorry, this is not available. You can have anything else. So as you can see, the waiter here acted as a mediator between you and the chef. It's not like you can directly go to the chef or to the kitchen directly into the restaurant. So you obviously need a mediator over there. So here the waiter acted as an API. So in technical terms, let's see what happens is whenever you hit any link on your browser or click any button on your platform, what happens is your client PC, that is your device, sends a request to the server, to the respective server, and in response the server sends some response to your client PC, and all this request response is handled by this API. Okay, so basically there are four ways through which a client PC communicates with the server, and these four ways API handle it. The first way is that is the first operation, creating a data, that is posting some of the data onto the server. So let me give you an example of this. For example, you must have created some accounts on some social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What you did is when you signed in initially, when you send it initially, you have like you gave your email ID, password, and all those things, and hit the submit button. So what happened at that instant is a new place has been reserved for you onto the server. So you basically posted a new entry of yourself. This is basically what a posting data a posting data is. Then second operation is reading. It is basically what we most of the time do. Uh, Reading data or getting the data from the server is basically like asking some of the data of the server on our computer. So let me give you a practical example of it. I guess you must not have known this. Whenever you type some link and when you hit enter, what happens is your PC sends a request to the server, and in turn the server sends you a response. What it response is, whatever you that response is basically whatever you see on your screen. Like if I hit youtube.com and I see an interface, that is what the response is. So the third operation is the update operation. So, for example, you uploaded any post yesterday on Instagram and you saw that there was a spelling mistake in the caption. So, what you do is edit it and do some changes. After doing, you save it, and then all the changes are reflected on your post and even on the server. So, basically, you are updating the existing data on the server. And last, there is delete operation, that you delete some existing data onto the server. So these are the four ways. So these are the four things basically which API can do for us. The API which we are going to use in our project will basically get us data from the server, and there are like many APIs which allows all four operations or some of it. But in our case, it is just getting the data, and it is a free API. There are also some paid APIs, but we are going to use a free API for the server, like for our project. So yeah, I hope your IDs are ready. So let's start the code. Saurabh, I hand over the stage to you.
Yes, thank you, Omkar. Let me
Please stop
just.
my screen, okay?
All right, all right. So hello everyone. Now let us get started with the coding stuff. So I hope you have your computers ready. So the first thing we'll do is let us create a new folder on the desktop, and let us call it COVID tracker. Hit enter, open it. So yeah, this is our folder. Let me now first of all tell you what the flow of this program will be. So flow. So the first thing we'll do is we'll for the coding stuff we'll create two Python files. Two .py files will be there. The first one will be to handle our backend part, that is to get data and fetch what we want and sort what we want and all that for the backend. And the second file will be front end part. So this will be your GUI file, which will actually what a user will see after opening our file. And the next part we will do is the second thing we'll do is we'll convert our .py files to .executable .exe files, so that if you share your file with your friend or anyone, he does not require Python to run that files. All right. So yeah, that will be our flow. So for this, I'm using Visual Studio ID. You can even go use any other ID. So let me just navigate to our folder that we have created. On the desktop, it is COVID tracker. Select folder. All right. So here we are. Just taking some time to load. All right. So first of all, we'll create a new file. Let us call it. The first file will be for backend. We'll call it main.py. And let me go to settings and increase the font. Uh, just a second. Let me uh, increase the font a bit. Right. All right. So I hope you can see it now. So first thing, we'll import requests. So request is a built-in module in Python. which allows us to handle all HTTP stuff. It will so in this file we'll use request to get the data from our website. The website that we'll be using is this data.covid19india.org. It is also given in the description, so you can just go there. So the first thing we'll do is get the data from that, get the JSON data from that website. So the first thing we'll do is requests dot get is a method inside request class, and will pass the URL of that website as a parameter. So we will be taking this data, and we'll be using this data to display to the user how many cases are active, how many deaths have happened, and so on. So just copy the link, Control C, and paste it here, and we are passing it as a string in this. All right, and at the end we have to write .json here. So it extracts all the JSON data from our our URL. And now what I'll do is I will store this data in a variable. Let us say data is equal to request.get and all. Okay, so we have stored this data. Now let me just show you the structure of our API. So if you go to this data.covid19india.org, you will see something like this, but actually I'm using an extension here. It is a JSON formatter extension. So if you install it and click parse, it will give you parse data of parse data. So basically it is easy to read and see what is in this data. So if we see this data is nothing but in a dictionary format. You can see it starts with curly braces, so it's a dictionary, and it has three key value pairs. First one is case time series, second is state wise, third one is tested. So for the case time series, it is a list in the value section. For state wise key, the list is in the value section, and for tested, it is also a list. But we only want our state wise to be displayed to the user. So what we'll do is we'll just take this part from the API. So how we can do that is we can say state wise is equal to, from the data that we have received from that from the data.covid19.org, we'll say from data I want state-wise list. So this state-wise, what does this state-wise contains? You can see it contains state-wise data for each state. This is the total, that is for all the states. This is for Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This is for Andhra Pradesh, and so on. And there are 38 items. This is because they have also included union territories. So what we will do is we'll write state-wise equals to data, and in key section we'll write state-wise. All right, now if we want to check if we have correctly retrieved our state-wise data, what we can do is so as I've already told you, state-wise is a list, and in this list there are dictionaries of the data, COVID data. Let me explain you in Sport. Okay, so the data is in a dictionary format, which contains three elements, as we have already seen here, that these are the three elements. So these contain some three elements, in which the middle one is state-wise. And now from this state-wise contains 38 elements, which is in form of list. All right. So this list contains 38 elements, and each element is of type dictionary. 38 elements. So from this, suppose we want this. What is the second data of? It is of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, so what we will do, if we type in state-wise, if we write the index, it is, you can see this is 1, this is 2. So index starts with 0, this is 0, this is 1. So if I pass 1 inside the state-wise, it should give me the data for Andaman and Nicobar Islands. All right, so let us test it. I will simply write print state-wise, and in the parenthesis I will write 1. I'll save it, and just let me go to command prompt, change directory to desktop slash COVID tracker. Hit enter, and I want to run the Python main.py. Yes, so we got the data of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, as you can see here, right? So that looks great. Uh, yes, so if now if I want the data of Assam, I have to pass the index of Assam. So if you see our API, our index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, Assam is here and its index is 4. So if I write 4 here, save it and run it again, you can see we got the data of Assam. So that's how we can do it. But there is one problem, that if user enters Assam, we have to so it is not actually a problem, it is just the logic, that suppose if user enters Assam, he wants to get the data of Assam, we have to map it with value 4. So if user says Assam, if user passes Assam, we have to put this value in our state-wise list. We have to put value here 4, so user gets the data of Assam. All right, so this is our logic. So what we'll do for this, we'll map Assam with its index, we'll map total with its index 0, we'll map Andaman Nicobar with its index 1, and Andhra Pradesh with its index 2, and so on. So for that we are mapping. So I think you know the concept of dictionaries. So we'll create an empty dictionary. Let us say state dict is equal to an empty dictionary, and after that what we'll do, we'll loop over, let me just clear it. What we will do is we will loop over this state-wise list, and for each data in this list, for the state part, we will match the state part with its index. So how we will do it is we'll create an empty dictionary. We will go to a for loop for I in range. So you can see that there are 38 elements in state-wise list, but it will be hard code if I write 38. It is not recommended. You should write length. Length means length of that list, length of the state-wise list. So for that there is inbuilt function len, and in this in the parameter passes state-wise. So length of state-wise and semicolon. And for the state-wise, what we are doing is we are mapping the state. So in state-wise, there are multiple dictionaries. In each dictionary, there is a column. There is a key named as state, and with this key, for the first one, it is total. For the second, it is For second, it is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. For third, it is Arunachal Pradesh and something, and so on up to the 38 states. All right. So total, its index will be 0. For Andaman and Nicobar Islands, its index will be 1, and up to the 38th state, the index will be 37. Okay. So for mapping this, what we'll do, we have created an empty dictionary state dict for I in range state-wise. What we'll do is in state dictionary, we will pass the state's value, that is the value of state from the dictionary that is inside the state-wise list. So in state-wise list, the dictionary that is inside is for 0th we will take value 0, for 1 we'll take value 1. So for inside state-wise, we have to pass the parameter I, so it can iterate. And from this, so what state-wise, okay, let me first write it and let me explain afterwards. State equal to I. So what I just did is state-wise I, this part will give me the dictionary, the first dictionary. Okay, and now from the first dictionary I want the state name. So that's why I have written another square brackets, and inside this I have passed state. So this total will give me the name of the state, and this will be a string, and I'm mapping this string with the index value I, iterator or index value I. So that is it. Now if we print our state-wise dictionary, state dictionary, and save it and run it in command prompt, you can see the total is mapped to 0, Andaman Nicobar Islands is mapped to 1, Andhra Pradesh is mapped to 2, and up to like West Bengal is mapped to 7. So yeah, the first part is done. We have our dictionary in which all the names of the state is mapped to a certain index. So suppose if user passes, suppose user says that he wants the data for, let's say, Maharashtra. So what we'll do is we will first find at what index Maharashtra is. So you can see Maharashtra is at 21. So how we will get that? We will say from state dictionary what the user has passed Maharashtra. So I'll write user here. This will give me the value of 21, and I'll pass this value in the state wise. So this should give me the value. So this should give me the data for Maharashtra, and what I'll do is I'll print this. Save it, and let's run it. Yeah. So as you can see, active this, and where is the state name? Yes, here Maharashtra. As you can see, state one is Maharashtra. So we have successfully retrieved our data from this data, that is, and from this data we have retrieved state. From state wise, we have retrieved Maharashtra's COVID cases and all the data. So that's how we do it. Now one problem arises. Say if suppose user enters small m instead of capital M and saves it, let's run it. So it gives me an error. So this is because in our dictionary, the Maharashtra in the Maharashtra key, the M is capital, and if we pass small m, there is no such key as small MAHARSTHRA. So that is why it is giving me error. So what we can do to solve it is in our dictionary, the name of let us say Assam, because it is easy to write. Let us say Assam is in our dictionary, stored exactly like this. Okay, and the user enters, let's say ASSAM. So this two doesn't match. So what we'll do, we will convert our dictionaries keys into small ASSAM. Sorry, triple S, and we'll convert this into, this is already converted, but if user enters instead of this he enters ASSAM, or suppose he enters all capital ASSAM, we will convert this into small ASSAM, and then we will say that and then we'll find this key in our dictionary, and we'll give the index value, and from that index value will be passed on to the state wise. Here will be the index value, suppose 4, and this will give us the data for Assam. So it will be more flexible, if user enters capital A or small a, if users even if user entered like this, capital SS, small a, capital M, it still will be converted into this, and we can show him the data. So what for that purpose, what we'll do, we will convert the user's input equals to user dot lower. So Python provides a lower function that if you apply it on any string, it will convert the string into the all lower cases. Save it. But there is a problem. See, if this is in small, but in our dictionary, as you can see in the data, uh, every state is starting with the capital. It is starting with the capital letters. So if we want to say we want it to work correctly, what we'll do, is we will convert the state name. This is our state name, all right, because in this ith position we are calling the state key, and it is giving us, from this state key it is giving us the state name. So what we'll do, we'll select this and we'll convert it into lower, and this lower, uh, as you can see now, this capital A is converted into small a now, and this whatever the user inputs, this will be converted into the same. And since this is the same, it will be easy, it will be convenient to search this, and it will not give us error. So let us try, save it and run it. Now as you can see, we have successfully got our data for Maharashtra. Even if users write small, even if users write like this, capital S, or suppose users write all capital, Maharashtra. We'll see. All right, so save it. Yeah, still we are getting the data. So the first problem is solved. Now there is another problem. Suppose if user writes Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So it is giving me correct data for Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But say if user does is he adds an extra space between it, or by mistake he add an extra space, or by mistake he doesn't add an extra space. Let us save it by doesn't not adding extra space. If we save it and run it, it will still give us error, because there is no such key as this. This is converted into lowercase. So first all of them are converted into lowercase. That's why it is looking like this. So for this, what we can do, I hope you understand what is the problem. Now for that case, what we'll do, so suppose if in our key, instead of Andaman and Nicobar, I'll say, let's say Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh. So this is our key stored in our dictionary. Now suppose if user enters like and here he adds additional spaces and write it as like this. So what we have to do, what we can do to solve this problem is we can remove all the spaces from this and all the spaces from this, and we can convert it into already we have converted into all lower cases. This is all lower cases, and this is also all lower cases. So that we can do. So this, the final string of this will be what? Maharashtra, and the final string will be, sorry, it is Madhya Pradesh. So it will be Madhya, and P will be small, and there will be no spaces. We are removing all the spaces, so it will be Pradesh, and here it will be Pradesh. This will be our and as you can see, they both are equal. So this will easily be able to find it, and our code will not give error. So what we'll do, we'll remove all the spaces. This is our string right now. We have converted into lower. We again will perform another operation on this, which is replace dot replace. And what you can do is with this function is replace all the strings that you want with another string. So I'll give a space here. I want to replace this space with no space. See, here is nothing. So I want to just replace it with nothing. If I save it, also I want to replace the user's input to in the same format. I want to replace all the space between them to no spaces. If I save it and if I run it now, see, it will give me the data for Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So yes, that's all for the backend part. No, that is not. We have to create another thing. We have to do another thing, that we have to create a function for this. So we are creating a function, and we will put all these things inside that function. So we are doing this because if we want to call the backend stuff from the GUI file, We can easily do that just by calling, just by writing the name of this file and writing this functions file. All right, so it will be easy. So that's why we're creating a function for this. Let us call it main call, and it will take state as a parameter. Remember that user is searching for the state, so it will take state as a parameter, state name actually. So let us write it here, state, and semicolon, and I'll select this all and press tab. And users, now users input will be state, state. That's why I write here state. Okay, so if user pass some string here, say Assam or Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, anything, this will be equals to users input state, and this will be converted into lower, and all the spaces between them will be replaced with no spaces, and we will get the dictionary. All right, so let us try to run this. Let us say main call, uh, let us say a state name, let's say Bihar, Bihar, save it. Let me just clear it all, CLS, and yes, so for Bihar, we are getting all its active cases are 212, confirmed are 725,497 deaths, and all. We clearly got the data, so it is working. But for this function, we want it to return the data. Okay, so we don't want to print the data; we want it to return data, so we can print it later in our uh, GUI file. So for that, what we'll do, we'll write return, and what we want to return is. What we want to return is what we've just deleted actually. So that will be state wise actually. Let us see. Yes, it is here state wise. So we'll write state wise, and we want the data to be shown by the data to be shown to the user will be user from our state dictionary. The index will be user. Let us now try to print it if it works correctly. Yeah, Bihar. And now let me test it with another. Let's say MHRSHTRA Maharashtra. Save it and run it. Yes, it is giving me this all these things for Maharashtra. So yes, the backend part is done. I just have to remove this. So let us take a 2-minute breaks and read if you have any doubts.
Feel free to ask them in the chat, okay?
Yes, you can ask any doubts.
Someone just asked what JSON is. Okay, if you still didn't understood what JSON is, it is basically a data type that any website returns. Like it is just similar to dictionary. It has all key value pairs in it, as you can see in the data written by that link. Can you show that, sorry?
The data, all right. JSON is a common format for all the programming languages to use an API's data, basically. So it stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it we can use it to communicate with the web. So suppose you are using the JSON in C++. Suppose you want to use some what we can say, data, HTTP data in your C++. So you can use it the JSON. You can use JSON in Java. You can use JSON in all other programming languages. So that is a common uh, representation for data that is on the web.
That is what makes flexible to use data written from any website in any other programming language.
Yes. All right. So okay, got it. Okay, nice. Yes, it will be available on the official channel of OSI. Currently, we were not able to stream on that channel, so we will do it in the. We'll upload this stream on the OSI channel. All right. So let us get started with the any other questions. All right. Okay. So now we'll start with the backend part. So for this, we'll first create an backend file. Let us, sorry, we are done with the front end part. We'll create, we are done with the backend part. We'll create a front end part that is for the graphical user interface part. Okay. So we will write, let us call it gui.py, save it. Now the first thing we'll do is we'll import the library, which will allow us to draw all the things that we want to show to the user on the screen. So that library in Python is tkinter. So let me just import it. It is an inbuilt library. You don't have to do anything. Just write import tkinter, and we'll import it as tk. Right. So it will be easy for us to instead of writing tkinter, we'll write just tk. Now, to create let us first create a simple window. So how you can do that is, let us say my window's name is win equals to tk dot capital Tk open close parentheses, and after that I'll write win dot main loop. Save it, and if I run this file, let me just clear it. And if I run this file from command prompt, the name of my file was gui.py. Yes, so as you can see, it creates a simple window for us. It's just 2 lines of code, and we have created a window. All right, so currently there is nothing in this window because we haven't put anything here. So yeah, now what we'll do is we'll add stuff to our window. Let me just show you the basic window how we are creating. So this is the basic window. This will be the user's input. User can enter anything here. And let me just show you what everything in this window is. So yeah, so all the every text that you see on the window that you cannot that is not interactable, in Python it is known, in Python's tkinter it is known as label. So this text is nothing but a label, and this label is stored in this. You can see the background. This background is nothing but a frame. So frame can be visible or cannot be visible. It depends on whether you want it to be visible or not. And this is an input box. Input box where user will write its what he want to search. Okay, and this is a button. If user click this button, all the text here will be go to the backend file, and it will return the data for that text. So it is a button. And this input box and this button is stored in another frame. This is also a frame. So it is a good practice to store your data inside a frame. So if you want to move it anywhere, it becomes very easy. Okay, so we'll create the first of all we'll start with the header part. So this is our header. We'll start with this part. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll create this frame. We will create this frame. Okay, this frame. So let us go to our code. All right, first let us set the geometry of our window. So if you see, currently our window starts with a square. It's a rectangle, square, and it's just a square, but it does not look good. We'll set it to something like, how you can do that is just click window, just write window dot geometry. It gives a method as geometry, and in this method you can pass what you want to do. I mean, what size, what is the size of the window that you want. So I want, and it takes it as a string. So remember, it takes it as a string. So I'll write, let's say 400 x. You have to write x here because it takes it as a multiply sign. So 400 into, I want it to be, let's say 180. Let us save it and run it again. Yes, so you can see our window is currently uh, of 400 pixels in width and 180 pixels in height. It looks good. Let us change it to, let's say, 200. First we have to close it, and then we have to run it again. Okay, it looks good now. The first part we'll do in the GUI thing is we'll create a header. For creating a header, let's create a frame first. As I already told you, frame, this label is in this label is nothing but text that you want to write on your window, is stored in this frame. So first of all, we'll create a frame. Let us call it a header frame. And this will be equals to tk. From that is from this tk inter, we are importing tk dot frame, just open close parenthesis. And you have to remember that this frame, this header frame, that is this frame, is child of this whole window. So whenever you create some widget, you have to pass its parent as an input to it. So in the tk.frame, I'll pass win inside this, so it says that this header frame is part of this window. All right. uh, now what I will do is let's check. All right. The next thing you'll do, whenever you open a widget, you have to pack or place it. So how it is, pack or place means nothing but to, if you draw something, you just have to say that it is there. So for that purpose, we write header, because this is finalized. So we say header frame dot pack, open close parenthesis, and just save it. Now, if I run it, you will notice nothing new. This is because I've already told you that until there is nothing inside the frame will not show. If you want to show the frame, you can change the background color, but it still doesn't show. So for that, we'll create a header text. Header text will be our label. That will be equals to tk dot label. And inside this label you can and as I already told you, you have to pass what is its parent. So for header text, its parent is header frame, so I will pass here header frame. And now it takes multiple parameters. Okay, so it is not necessary to put the parameters, but if I just save it and you remember you have to close it afterwards. So we close it by just writing, it's not frame, it's text. Close it by writing dot pack. If I save it and if I run it again, it shows nothing because we haven't put anything inside this text. Okay, so what you can do to write inside this, what you want to show in the label is header text dot text, dot configure. And in this configure, you can put various parameters. So I want to put text here, so I can write text. You can say it is already your suggestions. Text is equal to, let us say, COVID tracker. Save it. Okay. Oh. gui.py. Now you can see it shows COVID tracker. But okay, our window color is like it's white and it's boring. Let us first change the Windows color. Okay, so how you can do the change the Windows color is by writing. Okay, it's stable now. Win dot configure, and you can pass the parameters like BG. BG stands for background, and I will show you how you can add custom colors to it. I can write like black here and save it and run it. Run it again. So you can see the color is changed to black, but there is no flexibility in this. Suppose I want color, so you can add any custom color in this by just going to internet and writing htmlcolorcodes.com, and in this you can select any color. Let us say I want yes, I want a dark blue. Let's see how does it go. So in this it will give you a hex code value. Just copy it. Let us save it in some variable. Let us say bg color equals to and you have to put it inside the inverted commas because it is of type string. You just write hashtag and paste the value, so it will be a hex code of that color. And instead of black, if I write now bg color, save it and run it again, so you can see I've changed the background color. All right, that looks good now. But if you see one thing, this is not looking good. I want it to be in the whole window, like it should be along all the x-axis. Okay, so this does not look good. So what I can do is I can fill it. So we are filling the frame. Okay, so in the pack section, in the header frame, we want our frame to be like this. It should be up till the end. Okay, so for that, we will, in the pack method, what we'll write, we can pass a parameter as fill is equals to, and we want it along x-axis, so we will write tk dot x. So it is inside the tk inter module, so you have to write tk dot x. If you save it and then run it, you can see the bar is full up to the end. Okay, so this looks good now. All right, the next thing we'll do is we'll add an input in our template. You can see this frame contains an input and this frame also contains a button. So we'll create first a frame, and in this frame we'll add an input box and a button, that is track button. We'll just close it. So for that, we'll first create let us say input frame. Let me just comment out here hashtag. This was for Windows creation, so I'll write Windows. This was for header creation, so this was for the header part up till here. And now we are talking about input. So input, this will be our input section. All right, so in tk inter module, it provides us with a inbuilt function with which you can take input. Let us say user input is equals to tk dot tk dot. Oh, first of all, we have to create the frame. Okay, because it is the input is inside frame and this button is inside a frame. So first of all we have to create a frame. So let's first create a frame. So let's say input input frame is equals to tk dot frame, open close parentheses, and what we'll do is we'll pack the frame. All right, so this input frame is child of this windows. Okay, this input frame is child of this window. So what I'll do, I'll pass window as a parameter inside this, and I'll just pack it input frame dot pack, save it, and if I run it, it will not show us anything because there is nothing inside this window. So the first thing we'll create is an entry. So in tk inter, you can take input from the user by using, let us say user input is equal to tk dot, there is an entry method in this entry class in this tk inter module that lets us get whatever the user enters. So entry, and it is this user input is, you can see this user input box is child of this frame. So I have to pass this frame inside this. So in frame, and save it. And if I pack this user input dot pack and save it and then run it, you can see this user input is there. I can type anything inside this. So that was simple, but now it looks at the top. I want it to be at the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll at the pack section I can write. Remember, you have to write everything inside this win main loop, and from the start to the end, all the widgets that you're creating should be inside, should be before the main loop, because it should be at the end to run our program correctly, to run our GUI file correctly. Yes, so in user input, I want it to be at the bottom. So there is a parameter which you can pass inside the pack function. This is side. Side is equal to, let us say, bottom. B should be small in this, and it is a string. Okay, remember it is a string. Side is bottom. If I run it again, all right, it shows us it shows no change because the input frame is at the bottom, but the frame in which the input lies is still at its original position. So how we can change is that we don't have to write this inside the pack. You can user input. We can write input frame. Okay, we can add padding to this actually. In the pack function of this user input, there is a parameter. Let's say there is a parameter called pad y, and if you pass something like 20 and save it, run it, you can see it gives a padding. So this is my input field, and this is the padding. That is, there is some offset between the input field and its background. I mean, not its background, but the top and bottom section. And this right here, let me just, it will not be expanded. Let me just increase this value to like something like 60 and save it and run it again. So this is the frame that we have created, and this is the input bar that is inside this frame. To give you a little analogy, this is the white color frame, this frame is this frame, and this input bar is this input bar. All right, so we are, that does not look good actually. If you can see, we have what we can do. We can change the background color of this frame to just as same as the background color of our window. So that can be done simply by writing this input frame color we have to change. So we can write input frame dot configure because we're configuring. And in the parenthesis, I can write BG. BG means its background is equals to BG color. Remember, we already created a BG color and we have given it value, hex code value. And if you save it and run it, you can see the borders are, so the padding, that is the frame color is same as the background color, and still it's look good now. All right, we have just 5 minutes left. I think we don't have much time. I'll try to go as fast as I can. So the next part we'll do is we have to create a button. Okay. If anyone have any doubt, you can ask here. No problem. Omkar, you're seeing the chat?
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Okay. The next thing is we'll create a button. So for creating a button, what you can do is store. Let us create a variable button button is equals to writing tk dot inside the tk module. There is a button function in which you can by which you can create a button. If I simply write button dot pack, and this button is a part of our input frame. Okay, so we have to pass input frame here in frame, save it and run it. So you can see this button right here, but this is very small because we haven't put any text inside it. So if I just close it, and so how you can add text to this button is by writing button dot configure it, and inside configure write text is equals to, let us say, track is our text. Save it and run it again. Now the button appears and the track is also there. Okay. Track is also there. Now the next thing we'll do is we'll increase the width of button because let me just run it again. It's very small. You can see the button's width is very small. I want it to be more like this. Okay, more like this button. This looks proportionally good. So that can be done by configuring the button again. Just write comma and width. Width is equal to, let us say, something like 20. Let's 20. I don't actually. Yes, it is going to be. Yes, it is. It looks good, but the input frame is small now. So what I'll do is increase the size of input frame. You can increase the size of input frame by just configuring BG color. Okay, just write comma width. is equal to, let us say 20 here also. Save it and run it. I was increasing the size of input frame. No, I don't want to increase the size of window input frame. I want to increase the size of users input bar. Okay, entry. So I will write user input dot configure, and inside this, if I write width is equals to 20 and save it. Yes, it is a little bit bigger now, but I want it to be more. So let us say something like 40. Save it and run it again. Okay, it looks good now. So if I put something here and click, nothing will happen because we have to assign the function to the track button, what it will do after we click track. Okay, so to do that, what you can do, when we are defining the button, in the button you can just write comma command. So what command does is it takes, we have to make command equals to a function. So that function will be called when we click that button. So to create that function, let us create a function here. And remember, you have to create the function above the definition of button so that it does not give us error because you are calling the function before it is defined. Okay. So let us create our function, funct function. Let us call it on click. On click, if you if the user clicks this button, what will happen? So for testing, let us destroy the window, and you can destroy the window by just closing the window, or you can write it in a code as win.destroy and call this method. All right, so when we in the command of the button, you can in the while defining the button, you can write command equals to, just simply write on click. You don't have to call the function. Remember, you should not write the parenthesis here because it will call the function before even you click the button. Okay, so remember not to write the open and close parenthesis, just the name of the function. If I save it and run it again, and if I click track, you can see the window closed automatically. So yes, so this function is working properly, but I don't want to destroy the window. What I want is this window what I want is this window should get bigger and the data should be displayed over here, because see, there is a lot of data to be displayed. Okay, so if I switch to the, you can see this is a lot of data to be displayed, and such a small window will not do the work. The small window will not do the work. So what I can do is I can change the geometry of this window. I can change the geometry of this window by just enlarging it. So in the code, you just can do, if I click on this button, just windows. So you can see I've already changed the geometry here by writing win.geometry 400 into 200. So just I have to write it again here, win.geometry, and inside this I will write something like let us say 800 into 800. 800 into, you have to show it as x. Okay, 800. If I save it and run it again, and if I click track, you can see the window size is changed. Okay, it is 800 by 800 pixel. This is 800 and this is 800. So yeah, this is working. So the next thing we want to do is display our data over here, and this part should be shifted at the bottom. So for the button and input frame should be shifted at bottom, we can do just, we can shift this frame. This frame, you can see this frame, we can shift this frame at the bottom. So how we can do that? We can do that by, where is our input frame? This is our input frame. So we can just simply write input frame. Oh, let me just see, visible. All right, it is visible. So input frame dot pack again. So this can be done by writing the pack. I've already told you that if you write inside the pack and write side equals to, in parentheses, bottom, and save it. Let's run it to test it. If I track, you can see the track and the search window is shifted at the bottom. So now the next thing what we want is the whatever user inputs. We want this text to be sent to the backend, that is our main file, and this suppose users enter Assam, so this Assam should be passed here, and this function should give us the data of Assam. So how we can do that is where is our input? This is our input, users input. So whatever users enter, I can save it in something. So let us say if, and I'm writing this on click because I have to search this after the user clicks track. Okay, so I will simply write user user. Let's name it something as user state. That is the state name which users passed is equal to user input dot get. So get function we are using here, so it gives, so you can see it returns a string, that whatever is passed inside this, it returns this. Okay, so if I close it and if I write print user state and save it, and it again, and if I write Assam here, the window will be big and you can see Assam is printed here. So we successfully cached what user has passed here. Okay, so but what we want is we want the data to be shown to data of the Assam to be shown. So what we'll write, we will first import this main file in our GUI file just by writing import main as, all right, we don't have to write main as something, we can just import main. And if users input dot get, we have to pass in main dot, the function inside the main is main call. Okay, so I'm writing main call and we have to pass user state as a parameter here. So user state, save it, it will return all the data for the state that a user has given to us. So we'll store the data here in a variable, let us say data user data state data, let us say state data is equal to this. So all this data of the current state that users wants, if we're storing in this variable. And what we'll do is okay, let us just test it by printing this print state data. Let us save it. I'll currently comment this because we don't want our window to get big. All right, our tracker, let us write here Maharashtra track, and as you can see in our command prompt, it gives all the information about Maharashtra. So this is pretty good. Now what we want to do is we just have to display all this data in this window. In this window, when this window enlarges, we have to show all this data here, and this should be at the bottom of the window. So how we can do that? Just select it and uncomment it. All right. Now how we can do that? There is multiple data. So if you see our API again, there is this key and its value is this key, its value is this. So this is a lot of data. So what I can do is I can iterate over this dictionary's keys. So this key will give me this value, confirm will give me this value, that's will give me this value. So I can iterate over this and I can show every data one by one. So how I can do that is by creating labels. Okay, so label creation I've already told you. We have created already label here, text tk.label, that is this COVID tracker is a text and this is a label. So we can create label, just we have created for the header part, and you have to create this label inside the on click. Okay, remember, because when user clicks it, we have to show the data. So we are creating it inside the on click function. So what I'll simply do is let's say, and yeah, one more thing, there is multiple data, so we have to iterate over the dictionary that user wants and show that the data one by one. Okay, so we have to iterate, that means we have to use a loop. So let us say for keys, and nothing but this is nothing, whatever we are getting is nothing but a dictionary. Okay, this is the first dictionary, this is the second dictionary. So this dictionary is to be shown. So for key in uh, state data, okay, state data is the data that we are getting. So key in state data, what we want is we have to create a label. Let us say key label. So key label is nothing but the label for the this active, confirm, deaths, delta confirm for this. Okay, key label is a label for this. Key label is equals to pk dot label, and the text inside this should be all right. And this is inside our windows. So we are passing windows as a parameter, comma text is equal to, yeah, the text should be equal to the key. Okay, key is a string and text is also a string, so this should be the text. So if I write here text, sorry, keys, and save it, and after that I have to pack. Remember, you have to pack everything in tk enter key label dot pack and save it. And if I run the program, if I say, let us say Assam is easy to write, that's why I'm writing Assam so many times. You can see everything is displayed here. Okay, but the problem is that we don't want this to be displayed here. We want this to be displayed on the left side of the, and on the right side we want all the values. And this is not looking good. You can see it is just it sticks to the top, and all the strings, all the labels are in lower cases. So what I'll do is I'll just convert them into uppercase by writing key dot upper. Upper is also inbuilt function in Python which converts all the strings into uppercase of that strings. Okay, key label is equals to keys dot upper. Now the next thing we'll do is all right, this is good. And now I'll get it to the side, that is packed, and I'll give it a side equals to left. Save it. As I already told you, side is a parameter that is optional inside the pack, and we are shifting it to the left side of the screen. So we're just saving it. And if I write gui.py, if I write Assam, if I write pack, oh, this is all at the left side of it. All right, no problem. Inside of pack, I can do is I can place them. Place. So there is another function that is place, in which you can pass xy position. So what xy position is in this case is it is taking two. Oh, right, sorry. This is x and this is y. So this is 0, 0, and this is x and this is y. You have to remember it. So suppose I want the data to be showed here. Suppose I want my data to be shown here. What I can do is I can write this and this same. So let us say place in this x should be equal to let us say 50, and y should be also equals to 50. Save it. And one more thing, yeah, place. If we, instead of pack, if we write place, it also works, that you don't have to write pack again. If we run it, it gives us some track. All right, the state nodes. All right, this is all at there are all the values are there, but they are overlapping with each other. This is because we are keeping their position same. So what I can do is actually just create a variable. Let us say that variable is I equal to 0, and and we want them to be let me run this again. All right, so I want them to be below one another. So what I can do is I can iterate over I also, and I can add the y value. Let us say I can add 10 to the first. So state will be here, I mean, sorry, not state. The active will be here after 10 pixels, confirmed will be here after 10 pixels, deaths will be here, and so on. So what I can do is just, let me close it. In the y direction, I just add I, and increase the value of I here. I is equals to I plus, let us say 10 pixels. And if I run my script, if I write track, it is not working. Why it is not working? Place. Oh, this is one. I want to write I here. Okay, save it, close it, and run it again. And if I write sum and track, you can see all the values are one below the other. Now I have to increase its the offset more, that is the distance. So instead of 10, I'll increase it with, let's say, 50, and save it and run it again. I'll type ASSAM track. Now it looks good. Okay, it looks cleaner now. So this is just for the labels. This is just for the keys inside this. So active confirmed deaths, you can see active confirmed deaths, but we want their values also. So this, what we have just done, we have to just do it again, and this time but for the values in the dictionary. So what we can do is we can create another, let us say it value label is equals to tk dot label. And this, all right, one more thing, this label is also a child of Windows. So you have to pass win as a parameter, comma text should be equal to. Now, earlier we have written text should be equals to key in the state dictionary. Now we want the values at that key. So I have to write state data, and inside the state data I have to pass key here and save it. And what I have to do is, if I all right, I'll show you what the problem will occur. Key label dot place, if I write, and values, if I say x y, control C, and I just paste here. So they will overlap with each other. The keys and values will overlap with each other. So I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll just increase, let us say y to be 50 instead of 50. Instead of 50, let us say something like 200 pixels apart. Now if I run it and I write a sum and track it, right, they are not showing. I think there is some problem. Place state data open text key. Oh, this is key label. We don't want key label, we want val label. Okay, my bad. Val label should be here. If I save it, let me just clear it. Now if I write Python GUI and if I track for ASSAM Assam and track, now it is visible. You can see the active in 707 confirmed, delta confirmed, and all the values here. Okay, this looks pretty good now. Now the next thing is, I think this is it. We should do it now because we have a time limit. In just 2 minutes, we'll have our practicals now. So I'll just finish it by just showing you how to convert it into the exe. Okay, so this is very simple. What we have to do, just a little bit extra thing you have to do here. Just open your command prompt.
Saurabh,
Huh?
I guess practicals are cancelled.
Today's, no, from 2:30 we have regular practicals, I think.
Our ML practicals has been cancelled. Yes.
Our ML practical has been cancelled. Okay, it's fine now. All right, so whatever. No, I think we should do it because it's more than 1.5 hour. It is more than an hour. We started at 1:15. So there is one thing I'd like you to do is, I want you to do is, if I run this, let me run it again. There is one problem. Also, there is no problem. ASSAM, and if you track, we have our tracker working. All right, but the Assam state is written over here. I want it to be here also, so as a heading. So what I can do, let me run it again. Sorry. ASSAM track. I'll shift everything in this at the bottom, and I'll make space at this part for the heading of that state, for the label to that space. Okay, label to the data. So let me just, how we can do it, we can increase the y position of our key and label values. Instead of 50, let us say 100. Instead of 50, let us write 100. Save it. And if I run it in terminal, if I write let's say Goa and track, okay, this is giving me value for Goa, and we have our heading tag. We have to add our heading tag over here. So what I'll do, for keys in data, let me create the heading tag over here. So heading state head, let us say state head is equal to pk, and it will be a label because it is a text. Okay, so label, and inside this label we have to add text. Let us just create it for now, because we want to use it inside our key. So as suppose user enters Goa, so at the Goa we have to display Goa. So Goa is being called inside this function. Okay, where is it, for the key? All right, I'm sorry, we have to call it outside this for loop, because we don't want it to be displayed the number of times that the keys and values are there. So we'll just have to write state head dot configure. And all right, one more thing, that this will be the child of Windows. So if I write Windows win here and state dot configure, and text should be equals to, from the data dictionary, oh sorry, from the state data, we want don't want to print it, state data, we want it to be the state. Okay, so state state, and save it. Let's run it. I'll close it. Okay, and in Python for internal, there is some errors. State data. All right, cannot import data from request session. Line 3. Okay, this is something else. You don't have to do this. Okay, save terminal. All right, let's say Goa track. All right, one one thing that I didn't do is, I've already told you have to pack or place the function. So let me just try to pack it here. State head dot pack, and save it and run it. Track. Yeah, so Assam is here, but I want it to be at the position this. So this is nothing but the position that is x equal to 50 and y equals to 100. But I want y to be 50 because I want it to be more at the top side. So what I'll do, instead of state head dot pack, I'll write place. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Omkar is there to help you. Okay. Place x equals to x is equal to 50, comma y is equal to, let us say 50, and let us try to run it again. All right, so Assam is shown here, but you can see it is very small, so we can change the font of it. I think we can change the font of it. Yes, in configure section, you can write comma font. Yes, it is there. Font equals to, and it takes a tuple as an input. So you have to write open and close parenthesis, and font you can write, let us say Helvetica, and the font size, let us say font size to be something like 20, and save it. So you can see font is taking a tuple of which can be multiple values, but I'm passing just Helvetica and 20. Helvetica is a font name and 20 is its size. So if I run it, Let us see. Yeah, so Helvetica, and its size is increased, but it should be more on the top side. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do, instead of 50, I'll do, let's see, 25. Back. All right, it looks good now, but the only problem is you can see that the background is not looking good. Okay, so for that purpose, let us just do one simple thing. The key label will configure key label dot configure, and will change the background of it. So let me just tell you what background and what foregrounds are really. The background here is this white part you can see, and black part is our foreground color. Black the text color, the text, and the text color is foreground, and the background of it, that is white, is the background. Okay, so this is simple. We have to change the background, and we have to, let us say, if we change the background to background, we have to change the color of the font also, so it should be visible. So this can be done by simply label.configure, and you can change the color, background color. So we'll change the background color equals to same as the windows we want. Okay, so we'll write bg color, comma, foreground color is fg, is equal to, let us say, white. Okay, now we have to do a similar thing for the value label also. So val label dot configure bg equals, oh sorry, bg, okay, bg, not bg color, bg equals to bg color, now bg color, comma, and foreground color should be equals to white, and it is a string. All right, you should remember it. And if I run it now, you can add anything. I'm writing Assam or Goa because it's simple to write. Yes, it's look good now. The background color is as same as the windows, and the active. So if you want to increase this font, you can do the same thing for we have done to the head, state head. You can see it, state head. Font is Helvetica, and its size is 20. You can increase it by yourself. So take it as an assignment. So quickly we'll convert this Python file into .exe, so you can execute it without running Python. So how this is done is, just go to, let me close it. Just go to the COVID tracker folder that we have created. Press Shift and press right click. It will say open PowerShell windows here. All right, before that, one thing you have to do before converting this, this is our GUI file. Okay, this is calling the windows in our system. So we have to convert this file into the Python, into the executable file. You have to remember that. And one little library you have to install for Python. That is, you have to write in your command prompt pip install. This library is I've commented in the yes, it is pyinstaller. It is in the description also. Okay, so if you write pip install pyinstaller, it will automatically install the libraries. You have to wait for some time. Okay, it says requirement already satisfied because I have already installed this library. But if you install it, if you don't have it already installed, just write pip install pyinstaller. It will install it and close it. Now on your COVID tracker folder, open it, press Shift and hit right click, and navigate to Open PowerShell window here. And after that, click Open PowerShell window. Now what you have to write here is, I have given it in the description also in this live stream. You just have to write here. Okay, yes, this is correct. You just have to write pyinstaller hyphen onefile hyphen w, and the name of the file that you want to convert into the exe executable file. So in my case, it is a gui.py. So I will write gui.py and hit enter. It says, oh, I mistakenly written py. It should be pyinstaller. Okay, installer. My bad. I'm sorry. If you run it again, Yes, it is converting our file into executable. It will take some time. You just have to wait. Until then, let us see if someone asks any questions. Which language is used for competitive programming? Yes, Omkar, you can answer all this stuff.
Yeah, I did.
You can just give GitHub link. Yes, but we have to explain it also. So GitHub will not explain you. Video will also be available after the live stream. Okay. All right. So the conversion is done. Now what you have to do is close this PowerShell, and the two folders will be created in your directory. Okay. So just navigate to the test folder, and there file named gui.exe is created. Now if I run this file, you can see I don't have to open any command prompt, I don't have to open any Microsoft Visual Studio Code, I don't have to open any other software, I just can open it directly. Now if I write, let us say Maharashtra and track, you can see we can get all the values, all the key value pairs of Maharashtra. Let me just increase it in this direction. So active cases are 62452, confirmed are this. So this is our COVID tracker. All right, and let us run it again. If I track, let us say Bihar. So it's Nihar. Okay, BIHAR, and track it again. You can see we have all the values for Bihar, and also you can search anything from here also. Let us say Assam. Assam is easy to write, that's why we're calling it so many times. And you can see it is giving us value of Assam now. Okay, so active cases confirm batch, delta confirm delta dash, and all. So yes, guys, that is all. Now if you copy this file and send it to your friend, he can also open this file without using any external software, like without using any Python, without using any code, without having knowledge of any programming language and all. So yeah, that was it. And Omkar, you want to say anything? Omkar. All right, so that was it, guys. Thank you for joining us, and I thank Rupali ma'am for guiding us through this. Thank you, Preeti Bhamre ma'am, for letting us do the activity. In spite of your busy schedule, you let us do this. And thank you all of our open source members, Mitali, Dheeraj, Aksa, Komal, Rakhi, and all other FMS Kajal. And thank you, Omkar, and Vaibhav and Pratham for contributing to this. And yes, that is all. Omkar, you want to say anything else?
No, so that is it for today. So our main goal was to show you that you can create like from basic to very complex and very big application just by using APIs. There are like many APIs available. You
Oh,
can use any of them.
you can turn on your video actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did.
All right.
Okay. So the main goal of today's session was to just show you that we can create many applications, like many from basic to like advanced application just by using APIs because they make some work simple because they save much of our time.
Yes,
Like instead
so
of
you
writing
don't have
code,
to
yeah,
get the
if
data one by one. You just can import whole data set by just using that API. So we have used
yeah,
that data.covid19.org API here. So it gives all the active cases and all the information about the COVID stuff related to it. All
yes, so
right.
that is it.
All right. That is it for today, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Omkar.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
All right. So I'm closing it, and goodbye and have a nice day.
Bye.